everyone! So this video is basically going to be a video all about nail polish. So how to store it, how to use it, and just general hints and tips about nail polish as well. So some of you may have noticed that yes, my hair is a little bit different. Instead of being straight, it's kind of curly. It was a little bit curlier about 5 minutes ago because I used my curling iron for the very first time. I haven't done a whole head using a curling iron ever. It went okay, but my hair doesn't hold curl very well at all, so it's kind of falling out. But we'll give it a go another time and I'll show you guys what it looks like properly just after I've done it. But let me know what you think. Don't be too mean. But anyway, let's get started with the video, and I hope some of these tips come in helpful for you guys. So the first thing I want to talk about is the shelf life for nail polishes. A lot of people do ask me, considering how much I have in the background, how long it lasts for. Now I've had some of these bottles for about 8 years. I started collecting them in 2002, so yeah, about 8 years now, and they still work quite well. Some of them, I've only ever had 4 bottles dry up on me, and I can go through the reasons why they do that. But yeah, basically, on average, nail polishes will last you about 2 years. Nothing really goes off in them. There's nothing that will be dangerous about them if you continue to use them, so like bacteria or chemicals and things like that. It's just normally they'll go clumpy and you won't be able to apply them, and sometimes they'll dry up. So it depends on if air gets in them or if they just go bad, basically. That's all that will happen to them. Occasionally they will change colour, so they'll fade or discolour. Sometimes they will go green, and that's because of the chemicals that are actually in the nail polishes, depending on the actual colours themselves. So generally speaking, about 2 years is the shelf life on most nail polishes, but I have managed to keep some of these for well over that, and they are still working fine. So hopefully my hints and tips will help you guys extend the shelf life of your nail polishes as well. So next I want to talk about some storage tips. So the first point that I want to make is something that I don't do, but it is spoken about, and it is meant to extend the life of your nail polishes. There is a debate as to whether or not it actually helps or hinders the actual nail polish consistency, but there are more people for it than against it. So it is up to you. They recommend that you do keep your nail polishes in the refrigerator. What you have to be careful of is that sometimes the nail polish bottles may crack under the extreme cold, depending on the temperature change. I guess that would make sense. If it's going from quite warm to quite cold pretty quickly, it may crack or harm the bottle. Other people say that it does actually thicken the nail polish, and to an extent that is true. But if you are going to keep your nail polishes in the fridge, I would probably recommend keeping them in the door where it doesn't get as cold, in majority of fridges anyway. Keeping them in a box or like cardboard box or something like that, just in the door to protect them and stop them from moving around and getting damaged that way. And if you are going to keep them in the fridge, before using them, let them sit out and become room temperature. That way the consistency will thin up a little bit, because as they get colder they do get thicker. So it is up to you. It can help your nail polishes stop from fading faster, so if they are kept in the fridge. However, I don't do this, and I find that keeping them just in a dry, cool, dark place out of direct sunlight or heat does work as well. I just don't have enough space in my fridge for all of these nail polishes, and even my favourites, I don't really see the need of keeping them in the fridge myself. But if you don't have anywhere in your house that is a dry, cool, dark place, then a fridge, you may want to give it a go and see if it works for you. But yeah, that's the first tip. The second step is to make sure that when you are placing the lids back on your bottles, that you tighten them. Sometimes when you're using the nail polishes, for example, say this one here, when you're actually taking it out to use it, you put it up against the lid like that to get the excess off. Now what can sometimes happen is polish gets around the threads, and when you screw it back on, the actual seal isn't as airtight as it used to be. So to avoid air getting in the bottle, what I would recommend is that if you do find that there is a buildup of colour around those threads, around the seal, is get just a cotton bud or a Q-tip or something like that with a little bit of nail polish remover and wipe it around the threading. That will ensure that when you actually screw the lid back on, one, it will be airtight, and two, the lid won't get stuck as the nail polish dries up in where you've screwed it on, basically. I have had both happen to me where the air has gotten into the bottle and my nail polish has dried up. And when it gets to that stage, it is very hard to recover the colour. You basically have to throw it away. And I also have had it happen where the nail polish on the threading has dried when the lid's been on, and it's been nearly impossible to get the lid back off again. So that is tip number 2, just to make sure that you screw your lids on properly, that they are kept airtight, and if you do notice a build-up of lacquer around the threading, so that's basically these things here. Those little lines on the top of the bottle, that's threading. So if you do notice a build-up on those threads, just to wipe it off using a cotton bud with a little bit of nail lacquer remover on it. Step 3 is a really simple one. Store your nail polishes upright. So don't lie them on their side and don't lie them upside down. The reason for that is it is harder to shake the colour and blend the pigments back together, so they do discolour a lot faster if you do keep them on their side or upside down. If you are storing them upside down on their side as well, if you don't have your lid on really tightly, some colour may leak out and block up the lid, also letting air in or sticking the lid onto the bottle, and that will also ruin the polishes. But mainly for the fact that it is a lot harder to blend the pigments back together, and it discolours a lot faster if you don't keep them standing upright. So if you can, it is definitely best to store your nail polish standing upright. The next tips are all about using nail polish. So the first point is to treat your nail polish gently. If you are picking it up and shaking it really vigorously, it's only going to add air bubbles into the nail polish, which makes it a lot harder to apply, and it doesn't go on as easily and smoothly. If you do find that you do need to mix the colours or the pigments in together, what you can do, and instead of shaking it, which isn't good for your polish because it does add air bubbles in there, you can hold it between the palms of your hands and rub gently, backwards and forwards. Now for the purpose of shaking the pigment, you can tip it upside down once, rub it a few times, tip it back up and rub it. And then you do that until the nail polish blends back together. So that's if you find that they're separated a little bit or the thicker pigments have settled towards the bottom of the jar. That's all you do. Just rub them between the palms of your hands. Don't shake. Shaking it will add air bubbles, and prior to use you don't want that happening because it doesn't apply well. So all you got to do is gently rub between the palms of your hands, just like that. So actually applying and using your nail polish, the first step you want to do is use a little bit of nail polish remover and just wipe over the nail base. This will remove any oils from the nail, and it will help make your nail polish last longer. You can also decide whether or not you want to use a base coat. I would normally recommend that you do use a base coat, particularly if you are using darker colours. Definitely reds, because they do tend to stain your nails. They either stain them red, and they can go bluey coloured, or they can go yellow, depending on what's actually in the nail polish, and sometimes it is very difficult to get the staining off. So do use a base coat if you are going to be using a dark colour. When applying nail polish, it's better to apply several thin coats of nail polish rather than one big thick coat. The reason for that is it will look nicer in the end. It will also allow the nail polish to dry faster instead of taking ages to dry with one thick coat. But always make sure that you let each layer dry completely before applying the next. Otherwise you can get to the stage where it just doesn't dry. It gets too thick and it just won't dry, and then you'll have to take it off and start again, which you don't want. So try to only apply nail polish once or twice a week. The reason for that is if you do use nail polish excessively, so say like every day or something like that, it can dry out your nails, it can make them more sensitive and split, and basically it's not really healthy for your nails to be applying it and then taking it off and then applying it and then taking it off, so it can dry out your nails. If you are going to be using nail polish a lot more frequently than that, even though it's not recommended to do so, if to try to reduce any damage to your nails, try getting a nail polish remover with a built-in moisturizer. That way it reduces the dryness that it causes to your nails. And the last step is, if you don't feel like wearing nail polish but you still want to look finished and polished, what you can do is just apply an oil, like whether or not it be a cuticle oil or a cuticle butter. Leave that on the nails and let that sink in. What you can do is then just buy a buffer. Now it's not like a nail file or an emery board. It's basically like, it looks similar, but it's just a buffer. And it will be called a buffer, so if you go out looking for a nail buffer, you will find one. And what you can buy are high shine nail buffers. And on natural nails, all you need to do is just have the natural nail nice and clean. Once everything's soaked in, just get the buffer and go backwards and forwards. And the nail will look very shiny, very healthy, and very polished, basically, without using any nail polish or nail lacquers. It will also give you a very finished, very groomed look, and it will give your nails a rest and in between nail polishes as well. So that's always a nice little tip. If you don't feel like doing your nails, you can just buff them and make them look naturally beautiful. So I hope you guys found some of those tips interesting or helpful. Depending on how many more tips I can think of, I may make a second part to this video. We'll see. If you have any questions at all, please comment below and let me know, or just send me a message if you don't want to make a comment below. You're more than welcome to just contact me that way as well. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you all again really, really soon. Bye!